Alfred wants to be a supermodel, so he visits a fancy audition in New York, hoping for the best. There's a line of his rivals standing in the lobby. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? This guy with the snake eyes. Daisy the photographer invites Alfred to her studio to take some shots. After a couple of days, she receives printed pictures and freaks out. Why? Take a look at Alfred's body in this picture. Both of his feet are right. Amazingly, Alfred gets his dream job. A famous magazine invited him to shoot their cover. He arrives at the studio early to get ready. Before the start of the photo shoot, Alfred looks in the mirror. Gross! There's an allergic rash all over his face. Alfred interrogates 3 suspects. The assistant says, "I was told you're allergic to peanuts and berries, so we've prepared only safe snacks." The makeup artist says, "I didn't touch your food. I put on your makeup and left for a coffee break." And the cleaning lady says, "I know how sensitive models are. That's why I only use organic, hypoallergenic cleaning products." Can you guess who's guilty of Alfred's allergy? The makeup artist. Even though she didn't have access to his food, she was the only one who had access to his face, and she could put toxins in his makeup. Alfred gets hired as a model for a clothing catalog. He's asked to put on these trendy jeans. Can you count the exact number of holes in this piece of clothing? These 2 holes go through the pant legs, so in fact, these are 4 holes, not 2. As for this hole, it's only on the front of the leg, plus 1 hole. But that's not all. These jeans also have 3 more holes, 2 on the bottom of the pant legs and 1 on the belt. So the correct answer is 8. Alfred stayed late in the studio to write a post, and now he's finally going home. He walks along the dark hall of the office building. Suddenly, Alfred hears someone screaming for help. The voice comes from the broom locker. He opens the door. "Daisy, who closed you here?" Daisy replies, "I have no idea. I went to the 8th floor to eat in a Chinese restaurant, but it was closed for maintenance all day. So I decided to go home. Then, someone put a garbage bag on my head and locked me in here." In the morning, Alfred interrogates 5 suspects. The cleaner says, "I was washing the windows on the 8th floor." The makeup artist says, "I was cleaning my brushes in the bathroom." The assistant says, "I was helping the makeup artist, but I went home earlier." The stylist says, "I had dinner in the local Chinese restaurant and then went to a concert." And the cameraman says, "I was sick yesterday, so I went home early." Who locked up Daisy? The stylist. The Chinese restaurant was closed yesterday. The 6 friends get trapped inside the cave. Unfortunately, they had left all the food in the camp. That's why they're starving while waiting for the rescue group to arrive. Suddenly, Alfred finds 5 cookies in his pocket. Can you find the easiest way to divide these 5 cookies among 6 people equally? They should split the first 3 cookies in half and divide the remaining 2 cookies into 3 parts. This way, each person will get 1/2 and 1/3 of a cookie. Alfred returns from his vacation and checks his email. He sees 3 new job offers. Francis invites Alfred to participate in New York Fashion Week. Julia offers good money for a shampoo commercial. And Crystal offers him to be the face of a famous clothing brand. One of these employers is a scammer. Can you guess who? Crystal, the spelling of the brand Gucci is wrong. Alfred arrives at the shampoo commercial filming spot. He enters the dressing room and sees his actress partner, Amber. She has a short, messy haircut. Amber yells, "I took a 30-minute nap and someone has cut my beautiful long hair!" Alfred asks 3 suspects one question. What were you doing the last 30 minutes? The makeup artist says, "I was streaming a backstage video for my followers." The guard replies, "My coffee break started 30 minutes ago, so I went to the vending machine and bought hot chocolate. But then I received an assignment to catch a stranger with scissors. I kicked him out and returned to my workplace." And the stylist says, "Oh, I spent the last 20 minutes in the toilet. I shouldn't have eaten seafood for breakfast." Can you help Alfred spot the liar? It's the guard. He bought the hot chocolate 30 minutes ago, but why is it still hot? Alfred arrives at the Fashion Week. He's staying in a hotel with a roommate, Billy. Alfred takes a brief look at Billy's suitcase and spots 3 weird details right away. Can you see them too? Why does he need the shaving cream if he uses an electric razor? The book title is printed upside down, and there's no pair to this sock. Alfred goes to a fancy party full of celebrities. 4 guys want to impress him. They learn that Alfred was born in Australia, so they come up to him, tell their stories, and show some pictures. Jake says, "I'm so excited to go on a road trip around Australia this summer." Peter says, "I'm a travel blogger. Last summer in Arizona, I got some great kangaroo shots." Will says, "I'm a super broke guy. I've only been to New Jersey so far." And Oliver says, "I donate money for charity projects in Australia. Once, I saved a little koala." Who's lying? Peter. Kangaroos only live in Australia. Alfred leaves the party. But suddenly, he finds out that he had left his phone in the club. He returns and questions 3 people standing nearby. The waiter says, "I was busy with my orders. I didn't see anything." The cleaner says, "I think I saw your phone on the sofa. But when I looked there again, it was already gone." And the manager says, "There are no phones in our lost and found office." Who took Alfred's phone? The waiter. She has Alfred's phone case hidden in her boot. The next morning, Alfred enters the gym. He takes a look around and freaks out. Why? This lady is not from this planet. She has a completely transparent belly. Alfred is now wealthy enough to afford a new apartment. He locks all his documents and money in a safe that he found inside his bedroom, but now he can't open it. Alfred finds a list of codes nearby, but he doesn't know which one is correct. Can you help him figure out the code? These buttons are used a lot, but only the 3rd combination includes all these numbers. Alfred goes to his granny and spends holidays in the country. There, he meets his school friend, Dan. They haven't been talking for years. Dan begins to boast. "I've become a famous blogger. My videos on YouTube get millions of views." Dan shows Alfred a video from his channel, but Alfred looks at the video and immediately realizes that Dan is lying. How? The gap between likes and views is too huge. It's impossible. Dan just took a screenshot and changed the numbers in Photoshop. Helen and Dylan go to the movies. Can you spot anything odd in this place? There's a spider hiding in this guy's popcorn. This lady has a working camera, which is not allowed in the movies. The seats are numbered in a random order in this row, and there's a monster hiding behind the seats. Can you spot a criminal among these two truck drivers? The second guy is just shipping tomatoes, but someone scrawled the word help on the window of the first truck. Therefore, the first driver is the criminal. Can you guess which driver is more dangerous? The second one. Who uses such weird decor for his car? Breaking news! Someone stole exclusive diamond shoes from the local museum. Many people visited the exhibition that day, but the criminal had left no clue. The police arrive at the crime scene. Detective Smith checks the camera records and spots the thief right away. What about you? Something about this lady is very suspicious. Her height increases in the second footage. This probably means that she's wearing the stolen diamond shoes. Kelly throws a pajama party, but one of her guests is a criminal. Can you guess who? This lady is a thief.
Oh, no.
She hid the stolen items inside a pillow. Let's check how eagle-eyed you are. Can you spot 3 differences between these two pictures? Here they are.
Yes!
What about these pictures? Are they identical? Nope, there are 3 differences. Can you see 3 differences here? Here they are. Great job!
Yes!
Philip runs a publishing house. One day, he gets an anonymous message. His best illustrator Victor has a secret relationship with one of his female co-workers. Only 4 ladies work in Philip's farm. Sheila is an SMM manager. She has just returned from the Maldives. It was her honeymoon. Bella is a content manager. She's very shy and lives with 5 dogs. Lily is a part-time writer. She's single and parties all the time. And Kelly is an office manager. She's very ambitious and writes her own book in her spare time. Can you guess Victor's secret crush? Bella! Philip has white dog hair on his jacket, just like Bella. Crystal is a doctor. She arrives at a medical conference and takes several pictures with her colleagues before the event. In an hour, the local janitor finds Crystal unconscious in the storage room. Later, Crystal gets better and tells the police, "I was walking to the toilet. The last thing I remember was someone pushing me from behind. I don't know who did it." Police questioned all the doctors. Everyone claims that they were listening to the report when the attack took place. Officers examine the pictures before the conference and immediately identify the criminal. What about you? Crystal tried to protect herself and tore the string on the criminal's neck.
Oh my god!
So it was this guy with a broken badge. Harold is the richest man in town. This evening, he lost his memory because of a car accident. His only family is his daughter. When Harold wakes up in a hospital, 2 ladies claim to be his daughters. One of them is lying. Can you help Harold identify the real one? There's a photo frame near Harold's bed with a picture of him with his daughter. She has a mole on her cheek, and this lady too. So she's the real daughter. Peter gets lost in a haunted house and finds 3 doors. He needs to choose one of them to escape. There's a cute family of polar bears behind the first door. A couple of hungry, angry wolves are waiting behind the second door, and they haven't been eating for 7 years. And there are hundreds of venomous snakes behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Wolves can't survive without food for so long, so they're not a threat anymore. Mary is heading back home from work through a forest road. Somewhere along the way, she gets lost. She comes across 3 caves. Mary needs to choose one of them to go ahead. There are venomous scorpions inside the first cave. They can't wait to bite Mary. Inside the second cave, there's a tiger that will eat her alive. And inside the third cave, there are man-eating bats. Which cave is more or less safe? If you noticed, the sun is still up. It's daytime and bats are sleeping, so the third cave is the safest option for Mary. Detective Smith gets a task to investigate a robbery. He questions a witness who saw the thief escaping. He says, "In my car's mirror, I saw a masked man driving away in panic, but I wrote down the number of his car." Detective Smith takes the note with the number. Police find 4 cars with similar number plates. Detective Smith carefully examines all 4 cars and figures out which one of them belongs to the robber. How? Since the witness looked at the car number through his mirror, the image was reflected. It means that this was the original car number. Amy lives with her 3 sisters. She's a professional violinist. Her sister always complains that she loves music more than her own family. One day, Amy leaves for the gym, and when she returns home in the evening, she discovers that all her super expensive violins are broken.
Oh, God.
She immediately calls the police. Detective Smith arrives and interrogates everyone. Amy's elder sister, Sarah, says, "I was sleeping the whole time. I don't know anything." Detective Smith asks her what the other sisters were doing at the time. They were both reading books and eating dinner in the living room. Only the younger sister was having fun at a party downtown. Detective Smith immediately realizes who broke the violins. What about you? If Sarah was sleeping, how did she know who was doing what?
Duh.
This implies that she's hiding something. A woman in tears enters Detective Smith's office and asks for his help. She explains, "I was walking down the road when a man approached me from behind, snatched my phone from my hand, and ran away." But Detective Smith suspects 3 people and invites all of them, but everyone says that they didn't steal the lady's phone. Detective Smith checks their phones and immediately understands who did it. Can you guess who snatched the phone? Take a look at the wallpapers. This is the lady's dog, so the first guy stole her phone.
Oh, no.
After a particularly large snowfall, Chuck walks outdoors. He discovers a weird thing. He has half as much snow in his yard as his neighbors, but it seems like Chuck is not surprised at all. Can you guess why? Simple. Chuck's yard is half the size of his neighbor's. Vicky is filming a video blog about this haunted house. Suddenly, she freaks out because this place is full of frogs. How many frogs can you see in this picture? The correct answer is 11. Vicky runs away to the basement and sees a creepy collection of clown masks. How many masks can you spot? This one is not a mask, it's a portrait. Philip is walking down the street. Suddenly, a woman approaches him from behind and sneaks his wallet. She runs away and hides in one of the houses. Philip follows her. The owner of the house is inside. Philip asks him, has anyone visited you today?" The owner replies, "Nope, neither have I left the house. I live here alone and work from home." After hearing the owner's words, Philip knows for sure that this guy is a liar. How come? There are 3 cups of hot tea at the table and female sandals standing near the door. So he's probably an accomplice of the thief.
3 friends, Jim, Alex, and Chris, pick hats from a box. In the box, there are 2 black hats and 1 white hat. Jim sees the hats on Alex and Chris. Alex only sees Chris's hat, and Chris can't see any hats. When asked if they know the colors of their hats, Jim and Alex both say no. Chris confidently says that he knows his hat is black. How has he figured it out? Here's how it works. Jim's no means there's at least 1 black hat between Alex and Chris. Alex says no too, indicating that he sees a black hat on Chris. If it was white, Alex would know he's wearing the black since there's only 1 white hat. So Chris is sure that his hat is black. No magic or tricks, just logic. Detective Sue finds herself entangled in a case involving the theft of precious diamonds from a vault fortified with high-security measures. The list of suspects is diverse. There's a janitor, a security guard, even the CEO. Who is the thief? The thief is the janitor. Even in a high-security vault, the diamonds should still remain dust-free. The janitor's role involves cleaning them, so he had access to the jewels. On a chilly, wintry day, a figure stood in the center of someone's front yard. This individual remained in place for several weeks without any movement, and the yard's owner didn't mind it. Eventually, this person was gone. Who was he? It was a snowman. Meet Vampire Vlad. He invites his close nocturnal friends for a one-of-a-kind dinner gathering. Interestingly, the dinner party takes place during the daytime. All of his vampire companions accept the invitation without questioning it, and they arrive without encountering any problems. How on earth is this possible? Well, it turns out Vlad is the master of planning. He chose to host his vampire friends during a solar eclipse. Vampire Vlad has another story to puzzle you. One day, he found himself on a remote island. There seemed to be no humans there. To his relief, he stumbled upon a thriving garden filled with garlic. Vlad smiled with contentment. Garlic is dangerous for vampires. Then why did he laugh? That garlic garden implied the presence of a skilled gardener on the island. There was a human somewhere around. This discovery kindled Vlad's hope of a future food source. Here's the last one of the vampire-themed puzzles. In a quaint village, 3 individuals cast shadows, but one claims to be a vampire. The townsfolk wonder which of these 3 is the true vampire. Well, who is the vampire? The vampire is the one whose shadow behaves weirdly. While regular human shadows mimic people's movements, the vampire's shadow moves independently. Look, the human shadows synchronize with their steps, but the vampire shadow has a mind of its own. Steve met a tragic fate on a Saturday afternoon. His wife claims she was in the shower at that time. The chef says he was making breakfast, and the gardener was busy pruning hedges. Who is the likely criminal? It's the chef.
Uh-oh.
The whole thing happened in the afternoon, but the chef said that he had been making breakfast. At a carnival, a boy made a bet with a man. The man said he could write the boy's exact weight on a piece of paper. If he succeeded, the boy would give him $50. If not, the boy would get $50. The boy thought he could always say he weighed more or less, so he agreed. However, in the end, the boy had to pay the man $50. How did the man win? The man wrote your exact weight on the paper, and that was exactly what he said he would do. A person finds themselves confined in a room with two possible escape routes. The initial exit is an arrangement of magnifying glasses that scorch anything passing through, because the sun is scorching. The second exit is guarded by a fire-spewing dragon, which is merciless to intruders. How can the captive make their escape? They should wait until nightfall when the sun is down and then make a dash through the first exit. A criminal has been sentenced to face a fatal fate, and he is given a choice to meet his end in one of three rooms: a room engulfed in a blazing fire, a room occupied by assassins, or a room inhabited by lions that haven't eaten a meal in years. Which room should he select? He should opt for the room with the lions. If they haven't eaten in years, they aren't alive anymore. Once, a magician bragged about being able to hold his breath underwater for 6 minutes. A kid overheard this and exclaimed, "And I can do 10 minutes with no gear." The magician bet $10,000. Oddly, the kid won. Do you know how? She was just holding a glass of water above her head for 10 minutes. A monkey, a squirrel, and a bird are having a race to the tip of a ginormous coconut tree, all of them eyeing a delicious banana at the top. Who's going to be the lucky winner here? The monkey, the squirrel, or the bird? Oh please, the answer is none of them, because bananas don't grow on coconut trees. There are 5 apples in a basket and 5 people in the room. Each person takes 1 apple. Yet in the end, 1 apple is left in the basket. How come? The last person took an apple together with the basket. There's a person who lives on the 14th floor of a building. When they take the elevator downstairs, they stop at the first floor. When they go upstairs, they only go to the 10th floor. And after that, they use the stairs the rest of the way. But here's the twist. When they're in the elevator with someone else, or when it's raining, they go straight to the 14th floor. So what's the deal with this weird behavior? They can't reach the 14th floor button. When it's raining, this kid has an umbrella and can use it to press the button. And when they're with someone else, this other person can press the button for them. A driver goes the wrong way on a one-way street, but when he passes a few cops, they don't stop him. Why? Because he's walking, not driving. 2 fathers and 2 sons go to the mall and then return home in a car. However, When they get out of the car at home, only 3 people exit. How is it possible? Did they forget someone at the mall? Well, it's because we've got 3 generations here: a grandfather, a father, and a son. So even though there are 2 fathers and 2 sons, there are only 3 individuals. A couple went on a 3-week-long vacation, taking great care to secure their home and asking a neighbor to look after it during their absence. Upon their return, the wife discovered that her valuable jewelry was gone. How did it happen? She had hidden her precious jewelry inside the freezer in a bag with frozen food. But during their absence, there was a power outage. The frozen food went bad, and the neighbor, trying to be helpful, threw away the spoiled food. Bye-bye, jewelry. Imagine finding yourself in a pitch-black room. You have just a matchbox, a candle, and a lamp. You have only one match. The question is, what should you light first? Easy peasy. You light the match first. Think of an 8-letter word that remains a valid word even when you remove 1 letter at a time until only 1 letter is left. It's almost impossible to guess, but give it a try. The word is starting. You can take away letters one by one like this: starting, staring, string, sting, sing, sin, in, and finally I. Did you find those tough? Let me know in the comments.
Just look at this! A car has crashed into a restaurant window, smashing it. Detective Harris has come to investigate the case. There are 2 suspects, Julie and Douglas. But each of them claims that the other person did it. Can you help the detective figure out who is lying? It's Julie. The tire tracks on the ground belonged to her car. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $5.05. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. Why did he do it? The cash register showed $18.35, but the cashier said $5.05, which looks like SOS. Detective Harris was walking along the street when he heard some noise. He decided to check out what had happened. It turned out that some man had grabbed an elderly lady's bag and run away. The detective ran in the direction the witnesses showed him. After he turned the corner, he saw 3 doors. He knocked on the first one. The apartment owner, Patrick, opened the door. The man told the detective he'd just returned from a long run. Another man, Jerry, opened the second door. He said he'd been playing basketball behind his house. The third apartment belonged to Raymond, a musician. He had just finished composing a new piece of music. After talking to all these people, Detective Harris understood who the criminal was. Have you figured it out? The thief is Jerry. He claimed he'd been playing basketball, but he was holding a football while talking to the detective. Sarah and her sister Mary were doing some shopping. When they were leaving a grocery store, Sarah pointed at some young man and exclaimed, "Look, my nephew is over there!" Her sister replied, "Oh right, but it's not my nephew." How is it possible? The young man is Mary's son. Gemma returned from Asia and brought a precious porcelain figurine. She organized a party and invited all her friends to tell them about her journey. They had a great time, but after her friends left, the woman realized the figurine had disappeared. She called the police and showed them the photo she had taken at the party. One of the officers immediately realized who had stolen the figurine. Did you understand it too? It was this girl. She hid the figurine under her hat. At 9 a.m., Ethan got a call from his friend, an owner of a large business. The man said that a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on his desk the evening before, but now it was nowhere to be found. Ethan immediately came there to question his friend's employees. Soon, he had 3 suspects. Walter said he'd spent the previous evening at the movies. Joan had dinner with her friends, and Zachary visited an art gallery. It didn't take Ethan long to understand who was lying. Do you know it too? It was Walter. His ticket isn't torn. It means he didn't enter the movie theater. Now, look at these hands and try to figure out which person is married. If you look at the first hand attentively, you'll realize it doesn't belong to a grown-up person. On the second hand, there is a mark left by a ring, but there's no ring itself. It must mean that the person is no longer married. On the third hand, there's no ring either, but it's the right hand, and we wear wedding rings on the left hand. So out of these 3, this person is most likely to be married. Okay, the next challenge is for you. Look at these 3 men. They're at the airport. Which of these guys is married? All of these men are holding their passports and tickets in their hands. None of them is wearing a wedding ring. But pay attention to the man sitting on the bench. On his ticket, it's written, "Family discount." So, he must be the one who's married. Now look at this picture attentively. Does anything strike you as strange? It's winter, but butterflies are flying around the snowman. Now, try to figure out what's wrong with this image. It's the snowman again. Instead of a carrot, his nose is made of broccoli. And the last image for you to analyze. Why does the guy on the right need ski poles if he's going to snowboard? Marcus woke up in a dark basement with just one candle burning on the table. He saw 3 doors in one of the walls and 3 keys lying on the table. How many attempts will the guy need to figure out the key for each door? He'll need 6 attempts at the most. 3 of them for the first key, 2 attempts for the second key and 2 remaining doors, and just 1 attempt for the last key. But if Marcus is extremely lucky, he might need just 3 attempts. Alicia's mom asked the girl to do some grocery shopping. She gave her a shopping list and her bank card. But the woman knew her daughter was very absent-minded. That's why she gave Alicia a small note in case she forgot the card's PIN number. When the girl was at the register, she realized she had indeed forgotten the PIN. Alicia pulled the note out of her pocket and immediately remembered the code. Can you figure out what it was if the note had a fly, a cat, a person, and a snake drawn on it? The pin was 6420. Alicia just had to count the number of legs of each creature. A fancy restaurant in Los Angeles was offering a promotional deal. A married couple could eat at the restaurant for half price on their anniversary. To prevent scams, the couple would need proof of their wedding date. On a Thursday evening, a couple entered the restaurant and claimed it was their anniversary, but they didn't have any proof. The restaurant manager was called to speak with the couple. When the manager asked to hear about their wedding day, the wife said, "Oh, it was a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Birds were chirping and flowers were in full bloom." After nearly 10 minutes of ranting, she told the manager that today was their 28th wedding anniversary.
"How lovely,"
the manager said.
"However, you do not qualify for the discount. Today is not your anniversary. You are a liar."
How did the manager know it wasn't their anniversary? The calendar repeats itself every 28 years, so if they were married on a Sunday 28 years ago, the day they came to the restaurant would also have to be a Sunday. But since it was a Thursday, the manager knew they were lying. John called the police to report that his friend Mark had disappeared. He explained that 2 weeks earlier, he had offered Mark to live in his beach house in Miami. He wanted his friend to enjoy some summer heat, but when John returned from a half-month-long business trip to Chile, he found out that Mark was missing. The police listened to John's story and understood the man was lying. How did they figure it out? If it was summer in Miami, it was winter in Chile. And still, John came back suntanned. It means he hadn't been to Chile. Maya was in the gym doing the workout her personal trainer had prepared for her. It was tougher and longer than her usual ones. Exhausted, Maya returned to the changing room only to find her expensive bag gone.
Oh no!
She immediately called the police. They had 3 suspects. Maya's trainer said that he had been preparing a new program for his clients. Emma, another gym goer, said she had been running on a treadmill for 2 hours. The cleaner said he had been washing the swimming pool. Who took Maya's bag? It was her trainer. He knew Maya was going to have a long workout and wouldn't return to the changing room anytime soon. Amber's husband, Carl, is an artist. Can you guess which one of these ladies is Amber? It's the lady in the middle. She has the same paint stains on her clothes as Carl has on his jeans. Carl gets an invitation to visit a mysterious fortune teller, Morgana. She has built a maze so that only smart people could reach her house. Which one of these routes should Carl choose? Only the first path will take him to the final destination. Morgana treats Carl with a welcome drink. Only one of these 3 drinks is safe. Can you guess which one? The first drink. There's a human tooth inside the second glass, and there are too many flies around the third drink, so it's probably not fresh. Morgana says,
"I've got a surprise for you. People put it on the table but never eat it. What is it?"
Can you guess? The correct answer is a pack of cards. Carl gets his brand new pack of cards. Morgana offers him a mind game. from the pack of 52 cards. She places 4 cards on the table face down and gives Carl 4 clues about the card. Card on the left cannot be greater than the card on the right. The difference between the first card and the third card is 8. There's no single ace among these 4 cards. Also, there are no face cards. And finally, the difference between the second and the fourth card is 7. Can you help Carl guess the values of all 4 cards? Alright, let's put everything on the table. The task was to guess the value, so we can pay no attention to the suits. The first card has to be 2, and the third card has to be 10. There's simply no other way the difference can be 8. The first and the fourth clues reveal that the fourth card can only be 10. And, thanks to clue 5, we know that the second card amounts to 3. So here's the correct answer. Carl successfully solves the riddle. Morgana is impressed. She says,
Now that I see you deserve my gift, I will give you a magic amulet that will turn you into the richest artist. These 3 tunnels lead to the room where the treasure is hidden. You must choose wisely if you want to stay safe.
There's a rhino cuddling her calves in the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with gas, which is fatal for any insect. There are thousands of venomous snakes crawling around the third tunnel. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Nobody said that the gas is dangerous for humans. The next day, Carl feels sick and goes to the hospital. He meets these 3 women in the lobby. Can you find a doctor's wife among them? Take a look at the poster. This doctor is a dentist. The first lady is his patient. And the third one is his colleague, so the second lady is his wife. 3 doctors approach Carl, but one of them is fake. Can you guess who? Take a look at this guy's badge. There's a female picture and a name on it, so he's probably an imposter. The doctor invites Carl to his lab. Can you help him find these 3 items? Here they are. In the evening, Carl arrives home. He spots 5 weird things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The house number is hanging upside down. This raccoon is talking on a cell phone. The bicycle is moving without a rider. This lantern doesn't have a lamppost and floats in the air by itself. And finally, these flowers in the garden are blooming in the middle of winter. Carl enters his house. Surprise! His friends prepared a secret party for his birthday. Everything goes well, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Carl sees that someone has sneaked his lucky amulet from his neck. He questions 3 suspects. Rick says, "I was cooking snacks in the kitchen. The light turned off so suddenly." Bella says, "I was in the middle of a chess game when the power turned off." And Ren says, "I've been dancing in the living room for the last 30 minutes, and the dark didn't stop me." Who's lying? Bella. She said she was in the middle of her game, but all chess pieces are standing in their initial positions. Bella escapes with the amulet and flies away to Seychelles with her boyfriend Josh. Can you guess which one of these guys is Josh? The second guy. He's lying on her beach wrap. Bella is watching a boxing match on TV. It's a friendly match between two heavyweights which consists of 12 rounds, but it was finished after the 7th round because the boxer knocked out the other one. But during the match, no man threw even a single punch. How can this be possible? Easy. It was between two female boxers. In the hotel, Bella has only 3 neighbors on her floor. One of them is turning into a zombie. Can you guess who? This lady. It's hot. Why is she wearing a warm scarf? Bella leaves her hotel room to get some ice. 2 minutes later, she returns and finds out that someone had broken in. How did she know? When she was leaving, the balcony door was opened and now it's locked. It was Carl who robbed Bella. He just took back his amulet and ran away to the roof. Unfortunately, now he's trapped on the roof of the hotel building. It's 200 feet high. There's a hook on the roof and another hook 100 feet down from it. Carl finds a 150-foot-long rope and a sharp knife. How can he climb down safely? Carl should cut the rope into 2 parts, 50 and 100 feet. Then make a knot at the end of the shorter rope and put the longer one through it. Then he should slide down the ropes and untie the longer rope to be able to use it again with the second hook. Carl uses his lucky amulet and his art becomes super famous. One day, he receives a phone call from the police. They arrested a group of criminals who tried to sell illegal copies of Carl's artwork. They confiscated 3 paintings. Carl said that one of them is original. Can you guess which one? The first painting is a mirrored version of the original work. The second one has a barely visible handprint. Therefore, only the third painting is original. Carl exhibits a huge collage in a gallery. Can you spot any outstanding images? This guy over here. Carl goes to the gym for a morning workout. He sees something weird and freaks out. Can you spot what's wrong? A huge spider is crawling out of the ventilation. Carl puts his bags in a locker before going to the gym shower. He locks it and takes the key with him. He hangs the key on a hook together with his towel. After bathing, Carl finds out that someone had stolen the key and robbed his locker. He questions 3 suspects, but all of them say they were taking a shower and didn't see anything. Who is lying? The third guy. Take a look at his feet. They're too dirty for a man who has just taken a shower. Selma is a witch. One day, she returns home and finds out that the most powerful magic book from her library is missing. The thief left a note with the following letters. Can you guess what this message means? Salma should read this book from left to right. This way, the message reads like, "Your book is in a swamp cabin. Come at midnight and pick it up." Salma calls her sister Alma, and they go to the swamp cabin together. The house is empty, so they decide to explore the attic. Salma finds a dusty book and reads a couple of words out loud. Suddenly, Alma turns into a frog. Thankfully, every spell in this book has a canceling potion. But unfortunately, some parts of this book are written in weird language. Only one of these 3 potions will help. The trick is to find a recipe that contains the maximum number of words similar to the text on the left. Can you help Salma? Take a look at the first recipe. It has 2 matching words. The second recipe has 4 matches, and the third one has just 1. So the guys need to use the second potion. Thankfully, Alma turns back into a human. The sisters keep on exploring the cabin. Can you spot which emoji is absent in this location? This one. What about this room? Can you sort the adjacent emoji out? The fourth emoji doesn't belong here. Suddenly, a wicked wizard arrives at the cabin and says,
"Hello, Salma. I'm ready to return your book if you manage to solve my riddle. When do we see 2 but call 10 instead?"
When we look at the clock and see the number 2, we say 10 minutes. The wicked wizard returns the book to Salma and says,
"There are 3 ways out of the swamp, but only one of them is safe. There are venomous spiders crawling around the first route. A couple of werewolves are hanging out on the second route. And the third route is full of magic traps, hidden in unknown places. Good luck!"
Which way is more or less safe? Salma and Alma should choose the second route. Take a look at the sky. It's a new moon, so the werewolves are not dangerous. The next day, Salma goes to the magic school. She meets a new student, Sebastian, and falls in love at first sight. Salma gets so nervous in his company that she can't even talk. She decides to put a love note into his backpack. Now her task is to remember which backpack belongs to Sebastian. Here's what she remembers for sure. If it's red, it doesn't have any buttons. If it's blue, it doesn't have a handle. Also, it's not standing next to the last backpack in line. Can you help Salma find Sebastian's backpack? We can exclude these red backpacks because they have buttons. Also, we can get rid of the blue backpack with a handle. And now, all we need to do is to sort out this backpack standing next to the last one in line. And voila! Sebastian's backpack is over here. Later that day, Sebastian finds Salma's note, but her message is encoded. Can you help him figure out the hidden meaning? Too good for me. Meanwhile, Salma returns from school and goes to take a bubble bath. Can you spot what's wrong in this bathroom? Take a closer look at her bathtub. There's a shark fin sticking out of the water. It's vacation time. Salma goes hiking in the woods, while Alma is having a barbecue party in the mountains. One of the sisters is in danger. Can you guess who just by looking at their pictures? Although Alma's tent is dirty and old, it's still pretty useful. Meanwhile, Alma is making a barbecue right next to a jar of gasoline, so she's in more danger. It starts raining. Selma decides to leave the forest and check into the local hotel. The manager says,
Welcome. We only have 4 empty rooms left. You can check them out and choose.
"Can you help Selma make the best choice?" The window in the first room is not safe. There are cracks in the glass. Something alive is moving under the bed sheets in the third room, and the fourth room has a haunted mirror. So, Salma should choose the second room. Salma walks around the hotel and comes across a spooky wedding ceremony. One of these people is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the groom. Take a closer look at his outfit. It's hiding a wolf tail. The hotel security gets an emergency alert. There's a woman with fake documents among the hotel guests. The guard finds 3 suspects. Can you spot whose passport is fake? No matter what person a country is from, no passport can have a photo with a sunny beach in the background. They should be solid, so Karen's documents are fake. Salma goes to the spa area of the hotel. Can you spot who's not from this planet? These 2 ladies seem completely fine, but there's a bandage on this lady's arm. It's unlikely that a human being would choose to go to a sauna if they had cuts or scratches. Someone broke an old cursed statue in the local museum. Anyone who comes into contact with the fragments of the statue gets a green rash. The manager invites Salma to investigate this mysterious case. She finds 4 suspects and questions them. Drake says, "Lady, I didn't even see the sculpture. I only came here to use the toilet." Morgana says, "I wanted to see this particular piece, but unfortunately, I arrived here too late. I didn't know about the curse, so I touched the fragments." Fiona says, "I didn't break the statue, but I stole 1 fragment to sell it. Then I noticed a rash and I threw it away." Xavier says, "I read about the curse, so I prefer to stay away from this artifact." Who's lying? It's okay for Morgana and Fiona to have a rash. They both touched the cursed sculpture. But why did Drake get a rash? Salma goes to a magic store to purchase some ingredients for her rituals. The sales lady offers a 50% discount if Salma cracks her riddle.
I never was there. I'm always to be. You have never ever seen me, nor ever you will. Yet I am the confidence of everyone. Who am I?
The correct answer is future. Salma invites a couple of friends for dinner. Someone suggests playing cards, but for some reason, Salma is facing bad luck all night. Can you guess why she's losing? There's a mirror behind Salma. The other players can see her cards. After the party, Salma notices that her antique gold candlesticks are missing. She visits 4 suspects at their homes and questions them. Lily says, "I was very tired after the party, so I took a taxi and went home. You can ask the driver. My hands were empty." Bella says, "I didn't steal your stuff, Salma. Everyone knows that I'm richer than you." Alma says, "Come on, you're my sister. I know how much those candlesticks mean to you." And Sebastian says, Honestly, I didn't pay any attention to your things. I was looking at you all night. Who's the thief? Bella's dog is digging the ground in her backyard. Take a closer look and you'll notice Salma's candlestick sticking out of the ground. Busted! Allie and Zara went skiing. Take a close look at both of them. Which girl is in danger? It's Zara. Look, there's an avalanche right behind her. Ryan and Jessica went ice skating. One of them is in danger. But who? Take a careful look at the pictures. It's Ryan. The ice where he stands is cracking. Two families, the Johnsons and the Smiths, went camping in the forest for a day to spend quality time together and build a snowman. Which family isn't being smart? Look, the Smiths stopped right under a dangerous tree. The branch can fall off. It's not the best spot. They should definitely move as soon as possible. Elizabeth and Kate are late for work, so they're driving above the speed limit. Which one of them puts herself and others in greater danger? Elizabeth. The road she's driving on is icy. Kate isn't being the most careful person as well, but at least the road she's driving is clean. Jane and Sadie were walking around town and found an appealing holiday tree with sweets on it. Of course, both decided to eat something off the tree. Which one of them isn't being smart? It's Jane. Look at the bird right next to the tree. It doesn't seem like whatever it ate was good. Even though Sadie does badly by eating sweets for decoration, at least it probably won't hurt her. Mrs. Bell has 3 daughters, Alyssa, Cassidy, and Poppy. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Stella, Wendy, or Haley? Mrs. Bell seems to choose names with double letters, so she'll probably name the girl Stella. Mrs. Jones is a math teacher who has 3 students she is teaching privately. One day, she walked into the classroom and saw that someone had broken a window. Of course, all of them denied doing it. Alice.
Bea is lying.
Bea.
Cece is lying.
Cece.
Both Alice and Bea are lying.
Only one of the students is telling the truth. Who? If Alice is the one to tell the truth, then Bea is lying and Cece is telling the truth about Alice lying, which is a contradiction. If Cece is telling the truth, then Alice is lying about Bea lying. So Bea is telling the truth, which is another contradiction. If Bea is telling the truth, then Cece is lying about both girls lying, because Bea is telling the truth. There's no contradiction, so Bea is the only one telling the truth. Mrs. Rowan is an owner of a successful startup, and she's looking for an intern to do data analysis. She's looking through resumes and she needs to decide whom to invite to an interview. Take a look at the interviews one by one and try to figure out which ones aren't fake. Here's the first one. What do you think? Should Mrs. Rowan invite this candidate for an interview? No, I wouldn't invite this candidate. The work is in data analysis, but she has a master's in American literature. These subjects aren't related. Okay, here's the next candidate. What do you think? Should Mrs. Rowan speak with her? If what this woman is saying is true, then with her 8 years of experience, she is definitely overqualified for the job. I wouldn't invite her. Okay, here's the next candidate. Do you think this one is worth the shot? Will you recommend inviting her for an interview? She seems to be a great candidate. Green light. See you at the interview. What about this young man? Should Mrs. Rowan give him a chance? He seems fine to me. Let's see what he has to say during the interview. Okay, here's the last candidate for today. What do you think? Should we give her a chance? Well, she sounds reasonable. Let's give her a chance, and Mrs. Rowan will see how she does during the interview. So, all in all, we invited 3 candidates. Good job! Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. That's never happened before. Instead, she found a witch's house. Walked in, petted a cat, and asked the witch to take her home. The witch was busy making a new potion and needed Esme's help. She had to add 7 ingredients, but she didn't remember the order. She remembered that herbs must be added third. 2 steps before herbs, she must add spiders. Mouse hairs should be added last. Spiderweb goes right before mouse hairs. Grated stone is right after herbs. The magic powder goes sometime before the flower petals. What's the correct order? We know that herbs go third. If spiders are 2 steps before then they're the first ones. Mouse hairs are last, and the spiderweb is 6th. Grated stone is after herbs, so it's the 4th step. Only steps 2 and 5 are missing now. So if magic powder goes before flower petals, then the magic powder is step 2, and flower petals are step 5. Now, I have a brain teaser for you. Listen carefully. I look at you, you look at me. I raise my right, you raise your left. What am I? Of course, it's your reflection in a mirror. Yesterday was Lily's birthday, and she turned 16. The next time it's her birthday, she'll turn 20. How is it possible? Lily was born on February 29th, which only happens once every 4 years. She'll get older, but her exact birthday will be only in 4 years when she turns 20. Okay, a bit of simple math now. In math class, 14 students are girls. 8 students have blonde hair. 2 of the students are either girls or they are blonde. If 5 students in the class are blonde girls, how many students are in the class? Okay, so if there are 5 blonde girls and 8 blonde people, it means that there are 3 blonde guys. Plus, possibly some more guys who aren't blonde. The riddle says that 2 people aren't girls and aren't blonde, so that's them. So, 14 girls plus 3 blonde guys plus 2 non-blonde guys make it 19 students in the math class. Luna wants to buy a new skateboard, and she'll need to save $120 for it. If she saves $10 a month, it'll take her 12 months to save $120, which is too long. If she saves $20 each month, it'll take her 6 months, but it's almost all her pocket money. If Luna saves $15 each month, how long will it take her to save $120? It'll take her 8 months. Maddie cycles as a hobby, and she's competing in a cross-country race. Just before the finish line, she overtakes the person cycling third. What place did Maddie finish in? She overtook the third racer. She became third herself. I have 2 siblings, Emma and Maya. When I was 17, Emma was twice as old as Maya. When Emma was 23, Maya was twice as old as me. So how old was I when Maya was 10 years old? "8 years old." A group of high school students is going on a trip by bus, and their teacher should arrange the seats. She has the remaining 5 students she should arrange in 5 seats next to each other. Here's what the teacher knows. Joe and Dan are best friends, so they will make a lot of noise if they sit next to each other. Evie and Liana argue a lot, so they can't sit together as well. Beth refuses to sit next to the boys and doesn't like to take aisle seats or window seats. How can the seats be arranged? Since Beth doesn't like aisle and window seats, she will have 2 neighbors, and both of them should be girls. We also can't leave 2 seats next to each other because Joe and Dan should be separated. So, Beth is sitting in the middle, Evie and Liana are on her left and right, and Joe and Dan are on the edges. Hey, here's another opportunity to train your brain and sharpen your logical thinking skills. Don't miss out on it.
Yeah.
Liam was a doctor from Chicago. Once, he asked his boss to let him attend a medical conference in Berlin. The boss let Liam go but asked him to send a photo report as soon as he got to Europe. The next day, the boss received a message from Liam that said, "Hello from Germany, that's me right now." A photo was attached to the message. After looking at it, the boss realized Liam had lied to him. How did he figure it out? In the photo, there's a clock on the wall that shows exactly the same time as the clock in the boss's office. If Liam was in Germany, the clock would show a different time because of the time difference. A bit of math for you. Can you figure out what comes next in this sequence of numbers? It's gonna be this long number. You see, each next number is a verbal representation of the number before it. This way, if we start with 1, the next number in the sequence will be 1, 1. And the next one is 2 ones. And then we've got 1, 2, 1, 1, and so on. Look at this picture attentively. The guy has sent a message to his girlfriend. He seems to be missing her very much, but is it true? Can you figure out if he might be cheating on her? Yes, unfortunately he is. Look at this napkin. There's a lipstick print on it. He must be with another girl. Once, a man came to a police station. He said he'd been robbed on his way to the bank. He was carrying a briefcase with a big sum of money when a man wearing a black mask and gloves attacked him. The robber snatched the briefcase and ran away. The police officer listened to the man and asked him about a fresh cut on his right cheek. The man replied that it was from a ring the criminal had been wearing. After these words, the policeman immediately knew the man was lying. How did he realize it? Are you as attentive as the police officer to figure it out? The man couldn't know about the ring on the robber's finger, since he claimed that the criminal had been wearing gloves. Turn me on my side, and I'm everything. Cut me in half, and I'm nothing. What am I? I'm the number 8. On my side, I look like an infinity symbol. And cut in half, I'm just 2 zeros. Look at these people very attentively. Your task is to find out which girl the man is interested in. Remember that the answer here lies in the details. And this puzzle can tell us how good you are at reading people. Our body language can tell other people a lot about us. The way you sit, stand, and even move your arms can give away what you're thinking about or how you feel. The girls in the picture have different postures and facial expressions. And once we look closely, we will understand that the man is clearly interested in the girl who is most interested in him. But which one is it? The second one from the left. Her feet are pointed towards the man, and we can say the same about his feet. While girls number 1 and 3 are looking at the man too. They aren't into him all that much. Their feet and body language give it away. A wealthy old man didn't have a will, so he ordered his sons to race their horses, and the one whose horse would be slower would receive his inheritance. The 2 sons realized that they would be unable to race since they would be both holding their horses back. So they went to a wise man and asked him what they should do. After listening to his advice, the brothers started racing at full speed. What did the wise man tell them? He recommended switching horses. Now, whoever wins the race will get the inheritance because they will technically own the losing, slower horse. 4 people came to a river with a narrow bridge that could only hold 2 people at a time. It was nighttime, and they had just one torch that had to be used when crossing the bridge. Person A needed 1 minute to cross the bridge, and person B could do it in 2 minutes. It took person C 5 minutes to get to the other side, and person D needed 8 minutes. If 2 people were crossing the bridge together, they had to move at the slower person's pace. Can all these people get across the bridge within 15 minutes or less? Yes, they can. Let's see how it can be done. First, person A and person B cross the bridge, and then person A brings the light back. It takes 3 minutes. Next, person C and person D cross the bridge, and person B brings the light back afterward. It takes another 10 minutes. And finally, person A and person B cross the bridge again. This takes another 2 minutes. In total, we've got 15 minutes. Recently, Mark had been feeling some discomfort in his knees, so he decided to go to the doctor. After examining the man, the specialist gave him a piece of paper, saying, "Here's the solution," and then he left the room. What was written in the note? What did the doctor mean? The treatment is a painless operation. The missing letters spell out pain. Thus, Mark should have a painless operation. Thomas was talking with his colleague, and she asked him how many kids he had. He answered that he had 3 children, and she asked him about their ages. Thomas replied, "The product of their ages is 72, and the sum of their ages is the same as my house number." His colleague was confused. The next time she was invited to Thomas's house, she paid attention to his house number, and still, she couldn't figure out the kids' ages. Tom decided to help her. "Oh, that's right, I forgot to tell you the oldest one likes chocolate pudding." And after that, his colleague figured out the ages of the 3 children. Have you understood how old they are? The kids are 3, 3, and 8. The key to this riddle is the colleague knows the sum of the children's ages, but she still can't tell how old Thomas's children are because she is stuck between several possibilities. To narrow it down further, only 2 sets of numbers that multiply to 72 share the same sum. And that's when the man reveals that his oldest child likes chocolate pudding. Only the latter of these 2 sets has a distinct oldest child. Imagine that you're in a dark room. There's a candle, a wood stove, and a gas lamp there. You only have 1 match. What do you light first? First of all, you'll need to light the match. These 5 bags of gold all look identical. Each of them has 10 gold pieces in it, but one of the bags contains fake gold. The real gold and fake gold are identical in every way, except the weight. Each piece of fake gold weighs 1.1 ounce, while a piece of real gold weighs 1 ounce. You have a perfectly accurate digital scale, but you can use it only once. How can you determine which bag has the fake gold? You should take 1 gold piece from the first bag, 2 from the second bag, 3 from the third bag, 4 from the fourth bag, and 5 from the fifth bag. If the number on the scale ends in 0.1, you'll know the first bag contains the fake gold. If the number ends in 0.2, then the fake gold is in the second bag, and so on.
Marjorie owns a farm. There are 6 apple trees and 7 lemon trees on her land. Each apple tree has 12 fruits, and each lemon tree has 10 fruits. How many oranges are there in total? Zero. We didn't say that Marjorie has any orange trees. Marjorie inserts her diamond ring in a glass bottle and closes it with the help of a cork. Then she takes the ring out of the bottle without taking out the cork or breaking the bottle. Can you guess how she did it? Easy. She pushed the cork inside the bottle and then took out the ring. Marjorie lost her smartwatch somewhere in the fields. She uses her phone to detect the current location of her gadget. The phone draws 3 possible routes, but only one of them will actually take her to the smartwatch. Can you help Marjorie choose the right way? Route A is correct. Early in the morning, Marjorie enters one of the farm's barns. Oh no! Someone broke all the bottles with cherry juice. She asks her 3 workers to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, she interrogates them. "Who did it?" Marjorie asks. Frank replies, "Yesterday in the afternoon, I put all the cherry juice bottles on the shelves and left home. I don't know what happened." Phil says, I didn't feel well last night, so I didn't touch the juice, and I went to bed early. And Anna says, yesterday I painted the fence all day. I didn't even enter the barn. Who's lying? Anna. She said she painted the fence, but it doesn't look freshly painted at all. After a long working day, Marjorie wants to relax and goes to the public swimming pool. She spots something really weird in the shower. One of these ladies is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady. She's using ketchup to wash her hair instead of shampoo. Marjorie meets her 3 best friends by the pool, Megan, Sarah, and Raven. One of them gave birth to triplets 4 years ago. Can you guess who exactly? Raven. Take a look at her hands. She's wearing 3 DIY bracelets with the word Mom. The triplets are now 4 years old, and her jewelry looks like something that they could have crafted. Marjorie and her besties go to a concert, but only one of these people is a real musician. Can you guess who? It's the second guy. The first lady put her sheet music upside down. After the concert, Marjorie takes a walk down the local street. There are 100 houses numbered from 1 to 100 on the street. Can you count how many times they use the digit 9 to number all the houses? The correct answer is 19. The mystery can be solved using simple math. The digit 9 should occur in the following numbers. All we need to do is to count the number of 9s in this sequence. Marjorie comes home late at night and sees something creepy in her living room. Can you see it too? There are 3 ghosts in this room. What about the warehouse? Can you spot any ghosts here? Hello? Let's take a look at the bedroom. Ooh, there are 5 ghosts. Can someone call Ghostbusters? The next morning, Marjorie goes picking apples on her farm. Suddenly, someone spills cherry juice on her head. She noticed that someone climbed on a tree to pull that prank, but she didn't see this person's face. So Marjorie interrogates 3 people working on the farm that day. Frank says, I was watering vegetables far away from the apple trees. Phil says, I was in the kitchen preparing ingredients for the lemon jam production, just like you asked me. And Nina says, I was in the garden picking lemons for the jam. Marjorie figures out who did it right away. What about you? It was Phil. He tore his shirt and a piece of fabric got stuck on the branch of an apple tree. A group of tourists arrives at the farm and Marjorie gives them a fun tour. Unfortunately, one of these guests is a thief. Can you guess who? This lady. She is sneaking cash from another person's purse. It's raining heavily all day, so Marjorie stays home alone and fries pancakes in the kitchen. Suddenly, she realizes that she had forgotten to switch off the TV in the living room and goes there. In a minute, Marjorie returns to the kitchen and gets speechless. Why? Can you guess? When Marjorie left the kitchen, one prepared pancake was on the dish. But now it's gone. All the windows are locked. So, who did it? Suddenly, Marjorie hears weird sounds from the basement. She goes there and finds the thieves. A family of raccoons broke into her house and sneaked the pancake. Can you count the exact number of animals in the basement? The task was to count the number of all animals, so the correct answer is 7. There are 4 raccoons, 1 cat, and 2 rats. The next day, Marjorie goes into her sunflower field to check how the flowers are doing. Can you spot what's odd here? There's a socket built into the ground. Marjorie goes to Megan's birthday party. One of the guests has the number 2 written on his forehead, and the other has 3. Megan offers everyone a game. All 3 of you have a number on your forehead. The number on one of your foreheads is the sum of the other numbers. All the numbers are unique. Now, you can't talk to each other. If you guess your number correctly, you won't have to wash dishes. So, can you guess Marjorie's number? It could either be 1 or 5, but if her number was 1, the guy with 3 would see that and guess his own number. Therefore, Marjorie has the number 5 on her forehead. The next day, Marjorie enters the farm's main barn. It's time to plant flowers in larger pots. She takes off her diamond ring to protect it from dirt. Marjorie puts it on the table. The process is almost finished, but suddenly Marjorie's phone rings and she leaves the barn to answer the call. After a while, she comes back and sees that the ring is missing. There are only 3 people on the farm today: Frank, Nina, and Megan. So Marjorie says, "One of you has taken my ring. What were you doing when I left the barn?" Frank replies, "I was in the bathroom washing pumpkins with Nina." Nina replies, "Yes, we were washing the vegetables." And Megan says, "I was just taking selfies with pumpkins. Who took the ring?" Look at this bird cage. It was opened. The canary bird flew out and took the ring. There are 3 sets of lab equipment on Marjorie's table. Can you sort the odd one out? This one doesn't have a flame. Marjorie throws a harvest festival at her farm. Her friends and coworkers chill all together. Can you spot any zombies among them? This dancer in the bushes doesn't look alive. As evening came, bright stars and a new moon showed up in the sky. Now Marjorie has to choose one of these 3 tunnels to escape. There's a family of creepy werewolves hanging out inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is a home for mutant bats. They feed on humans and stay awake 24/7. And there is an unknown monster hiding in the third tunnel. Unknown because no one had ever returned from there alive to tell. Which tunnel is more or less safe to enter? Marjorie should choose the first tunnel. It's a new moon, so the werewolves are not dangerous yet.
Neil was one of the best watchmakers in town. He got a call from the police station one day, asking him for help to solve a crime. 2 burglars were caught robbing shops in town. Amongst the things they stole, there were 2 watches. One of the burglars claimed that the watch they stole was a fake, so the police contacted Neil to see if that was really true. Take a look at both watches. Can you help Neil figure out which one is fake and which one is real? The watch on the left is a fake. If you look closely, you'll see that the miniature arm is too long, so it can't pass around the entire clock when it moves. Maya was an undercover police officer. On a Saturday night, she was off duty and decided to go to the movies. When she arrived, she saw two women who looked pretty suspicious. She remembered that the police were tracking down a girl who had escaped from prison the week before. Take a look at both women. Can you tell if one has escaped prison recently? It's the lady on the left. Her prison uniform is peeking through her coat. I mean, she should have at least changed clothes by now, right? Beth arrived at school and one of her best friends showed her a picture. She told Beth that if she got the answer correctly, she would get a week's supply of free chocolate. The friend said that one of the people in the picture wasn't human. Can you help Beth figure out the answer? It's the boy in the middle. He doesn't have a shadow, which means he's definitely not human. Ruby was traveling around India when she decided to stop for some tea. As soon as she walked inside the tea shop, the owner placed 2 teapots in front of her. He told her she would get a free cup of tea if she could figure out his riddle. He told her that the first teapot contained enough tea for 40 cups and asked to figure out, just by looking at the pot, how many cups of tea it could carry inside. Take a look at the image. Can you help Ruby figure out the answer? This is a tricky one. Probably the second teapot can only carry around 20 cups of tea. If you look closely, you'll see that the outlets of the first teapot is located in the middle of the pot. But the outlet of the second pot is located right at the bottom, so even if the pot is taller, it can't hold more water than the first one. After water hits the level of the outlet, it'll just start overflowing. Mary was walking in an enchanted forest when she met Randy, a magical unicorn. Mary asked the unicorn for some information, but he refused to talk to her unless she solved one of his riddles. He was a trickster and liked confusing people with his riddles. He told Mary that in a nearby field there were tigers and sheep. Usually one tiger could catch 3 sheep in 3 minutes. So he asked her how long it would take for 100 tigers to catch 100 sheep. Can you help Mary figure out the answer? It would still take 3 minutes, because each tiger is still catching 1 sheep in 3 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 3 tigers or 100. The unicorn was surprised by Mary's abilities and gave her another riddle to solve. He asked her to name the 5 days of the week without saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. She also couldn't say whether it was the first day of the week or the last. What do you think Mary answered here? She said, the day before yesterday, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Clever girl, huh? Brianna was traveling on business, and her company put her in one of the best hotels in town. She arrived from work late at night, exhausted. She was getting ready to go to bed when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside. The man said he was sorry for bothering her, but the hotel database had crashed and he needed to recheck some of her information. Brianna said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door, and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. Take a look at the image. How did she know the man was a robber? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He is surely not the real hotel manager. Luca decided to throw a party for his best friends. He invited over 20 people to the party, but he only bought 9 candies. He told his friends he would leave the candies inside a pretty little box. and they could each get 1 candy. 9 people took 9 candies, but 1 candy was still in the box. How could that be possible? It's pretty simple. The last person took the candy and the box. This way, 1 candy remained in the box. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is dripping and one can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color so as not to attract any attention. But you caught him. It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each one of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Smart, huh? Bobby was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the message, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the candy from the first envelope. 2. Take the candy from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the first envelope. Which capsule should Bobby take? He should trust the candy from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. The manager of a gift shop got a call from the police station. The police told him there was a burglar on the loose. He dressed up as the Joker and was robbing local shops. But since it was Halloween, a lot of people were walking dressed up as the Joker. At that moment, 4 Jokers entered the shop. The manager got suspicious, so he made the people stand in a line while he examined which one of them was the criminal. Take a look at the image. Can you guess which Joker is the real thief? The thief is the second Joker on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime, so Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th. So the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old. Yet, she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asked,
What day of the week is today?
No one knew. The father said, I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday. The mother said,
And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday.
And Adele, an older sister, said,
Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday.
What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, Lion's Den. On the second door, there was a sign saying, Mountaintop. On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing.
No.
They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, I was reading. The maid said,
I was dusting the corners in the house.
The chef said, I was baking an apple pie. Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rosebush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel. He hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James. He's cooking in the direct sun and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa, look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. so it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Take a look at this image for a second. Which prisoner do you think is rich? Let's see. It can't be the first guy since his food is partially rotten. It looks like the other inmates don't really like him, and he doesn't have a lot of power inside the prison. The second guy, while he looks super wealthy, his jewelry is actually fake. This leaves us with the last guy, and bingo, it's him! Look, he's got a laptop under his plate and a phone under his arm. He's the richest for sure. Susie was invited to take part in a pop-up riddle show. She needed to answer one question correctly to win $1,000. She was extremely nervous when the game show host asked her this question. How many numbers are on a clock? Can you help Susie figure out this one? The answer looks obvious, but it's not. You need to do some math. The correct answer is 15. It doesn't work if you simply stare at the clock and say there are 12 numbers. You see, the numbers 10, 11, and 12 are made up of smaller numerical numbers, so the correct way to count it would be in a clockwise fashion. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, and 1. Phew! A local thief was running around playing tricks on some neighborhood stores. On a Saturday morning, he walked inside Mrs. Buchanan's shop and stole a $100 bill from the counter when she wasn't looking. He grabbed a shopping cart and filled it with $70 worth of goods. He paid for everything with the $100 bill he had stolen and even got $30 back as change. How much money did the store owner lose in all of this? The shop owner just lost $100. I know it sounds too simple, but here's the deal. In total, the store owner lost $70 worth of merchandise, plus the $30 she gave as change. So yes, she lost $100. Maya was roaming through the multiverses when she ran into a gatekeeper guarding a green door. She said she needed to go through the door in order to access her original timeline, but the gatekeeper would only let through those who answered his riddle. He told her that some things can go through the green door while others cannot, and she needed to figure out what all of the things had in common. And then he tells her, "You can come through the door with a carton of eggs, but not with a box of donuts. You can pass through it with a gallon of skim milk, but not a quart of it. You can bring with you some bamboo, but not jade, orchids, philodendron, or ivy. Sadly, you can't come through with dogs and cats unless they're still puppies and kittens." Can you help Maya figure out the pattern in common with all of these things? Well, the key to solving this riddle can be found in all 4 of the words that make up the phrase green glass door, aka double letters. If something is spelled with double letters, it can go through the green glass door. If there are no double letters in its name, then it can't. Mark went to the farmer's market to do his weekly grocery shopping. He stopped by the egg stand, and the owner was feeling chatty, so he challenged Mark to guess the answer to a riddle. He told Mark,
If I had 4 eggs and a thief gave me 3, and my rooster laid 5 more, how many eggs do I have?
"Can you help Mark figure out the answer here?" I'll get one thing out of the way. It's not a simple math problem. It doesn't work if you just add everything up. But here's the first problem. Roosters don't lay eggs, so those eggs are out of the equation. And then if you read correctly, the man said, "If I had 4 eggs," which means that he had 0 eggs to begin with. So the correct answer is 3. The 3 eggs that the thief gave him. 4 prisoners from a high-security prison were taken to a deserted beach to do some community service. The warden wanted to have some fun, so he lined them up in a single-file line and separated prisoner A from the other 3 with the help of a brick wall. He gave each prisoner a hat, either black or white, without telling them which color they each got. In total, there were 2 black hats and 2 white hats. He told them that all prisoners would be sentenced to prison for life, except they could guess correctly which color of hat they had in under 10 minutes. The prisoners weren't allowed to confer with each other, and they weren't allowed to move around or change positions. They got super nervous, of course, but they had no other option than to play the game. Luckily, just before the clock struck 10 minutes, one of the prisoners guessed correctly their hat color. Can you guess which prisoner it was? P.S. There is only one correct answer. If you guessed prisoner C, then you got it right. Let's see why. This riddle can only be solved through a process of elimination, and 2 of the prisoners, prisoners A and B, can be eliminated right off the bat. That's because neither one of them can see any of the other prisoners, so neither possesses any information with which to make a more certain guess. That just leaves us prisoners C and D. When prisoner D remains silent and doesn't take a guess, prisoner C deduces his own hair color. He deduces that he and prisoner B must be wearing different colored hats, and since prisoner B was wearing a white hat, he guessed he is wearing a black hat. Yikes! This fried my hat off. Betty was in her last year of high school and she decided to take photography as an extracurricular activity. For her latest assignment, she needed to take an urban picture and present it to the class. However, since Betty was also organizing a big graduation trip, she didn't have time to do the assignment. Instead, she decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teacher and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because that person over there has 2 heads. It looks pretty cool, but that's kind of a difficult phenomenon to find here on this planet. Three people decided to spend their vacations in Antarctica. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the penguins for his social media page. And Helena got to do some fishing while she was there. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take a penguin with them in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Let's see what we have here. Well, is that a penguin's feet poking out of Helena's backpack? It sure is. Guess she did more than just fishing during her vacation. Yikes! December 5th is Bloomfield Town's Contest Day. For this year, the mayor picked bakery as the theme, so contestants needed to bake the best dessert to win. The only rule was that the bakers couldn't use sugar in their recipes, only natural sweeteners. When the mayor went to judge the 4 finalists and pick the best dessert, he immediately disqualified one of the bakers, saying they had cheated. And he did that without even tasting the desserts. Take a look at the contestants and see if you can spot the cheater. Look at the third woman in the row. Her cake is literally covered in powdered sugar. She was disqualified because she broke the no sugar rule. Hi detectives! Hope you're doing well and are ready to take on some tricky jobs. Drink that cup of coffee to wake your brain up and let's begin.
Yeah.
Look at this diver. He managed to descend to the very bottom of the ocean without any diving gear. Surprisingly, he stayed submerged for hours and didn't even need to come up for air. How is this possible? He didn't need any diving suit or gear because he was in a submarine. Now, there are 5 apples. They're green and red. Of any 2 apples, at least one is red. How many green apples are there? There's only one green apple. As you see, in any pair of apples, one or both fruits are red. It means there can be no pair where both apples are green, which in turn means there can't be more than one green apple. Otherwise, they would make a pair. Look at these people. Each of them seems to have some health problems, but in reality, one of them is just pretending. Who is it? It's Rick. If you look attentively, you'll notice that his phone is in his right pocket. He must have used his broken arm to put it there. You've got a lock with a special code consisting of 3 digits. Each digit can be any number from 1 to 9. To open the lock, you need to figure out the secret code. Let me help you and give you some clues. Before the first number, I say higher. Before the second number, I say lower. And before the last number, I say correct. Can you guess the code? The code is actually the number of letters in the words higher, lower, and correct. 6, 5, and 7 respectively. There's an invisible wall in front of you. How can you figure out where exactly it is without touching it? You need to throw something at it. For example, a ball. Wherever it stops midair is where the invisible wall is. Can you name an English word that becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? This is the word short. 3 brothers won 2 scooters that had the same price in a lottery. To divide their winnings equally, the oldest and the middle brother each took a scooter. And then each of them gave 350 coins to the youngest brother. How many coins is 1 scooter worth? It costs 1,050 coins. You see, the younger brother got this sum of money. This is a third of the cost of the 2 scooters. It means that 2 scooters are worth 2,100 coins. This way, 1 scooter costs 1,050 coins. Can you think of something so fragile that even speaking its name can break it? It's silence. Kate lives on the 4th floor and Alex lives on the 2nd floor. When she goes up to the 4th floor, Kate climbs 60 stairs. How many stairs does Alex have to climb to get to the 2nd floor? Your first answer might be that Alex needs to climb 30 stairs. It's half as many as Kate has to take because she lives on the floor twice as high. But this is not the case. When Kate goes up to the 4th floor, she climbs 6 flights of stairs. So, there are 20 stairs between 2 floors. It means that when Alex goes from the 1st floor to the 2nd floor, he climbs 20 stairs. A parrot has lived less than 100 years and can only answer yes and no questions. How many questions do you have to ask it to find out its age? At first glance, it may seem that a parrot can be asked up to 99 questions. But you can actually figure out the answer with a much smaller number of questions. First, ask the bird, "Are you over 50 years old?" If he answers yes, its age is from 51 to 99. If it answers no, its age is from 1 to 50. The number of options is halved after the first question. The next question you can ask is, "Are you more or less than 25 years old?" Or it can be, "Are you more or less than 75 years old?" depending on the answer to the first question. These following questions reduce the number of options by 4 times. In the end, the parrot only needs to be asked 7 questions. The pencil was placed on the floor, and several people were asked to jump over it, but no one managed to do it. Why? The pencil was put near the wall. George Washington, Sherlock Holmes, William Shakespeare, Ludwig van Beethoven, and Napoleon Bonaparte, which of these famous characters is fundamentally different? Sherlock Holmes, because he's a fictional character, while the rest were real historical figures. Imagine a 5-mile-long bridge that can hold exactly 25 tons. A fully equipped truck, including the driver, weighs 25 tons. It starts driving over the bridge. In the middle of the bridge, a small sparrow lands on the truck. But surprisingly, the bridge does not collapse. Why? The truck has used some fuel to get to the center of the bridge. Anna majored in accounting at university. Her roommates wanted to test her intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote some messages on them. Then they put the answers to Anna's exam questions in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope had a truthful message written on it. The other 2 were false. Anna wasn't allowed to open the envelopes and could only pick one. The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second said, "The exam answers are here." And the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope should Anna pick? The third one. It tells the truth, which means the exam answers are in the first envelope. A businessman was about to go through a security check at the airport when he realized someone had taken his luggage. The airport police had 3 suspects. Lisa said, "I wouldn't take someone's old brown bag. I have my own, bright pink and pretty." Mike explained he was a light traveler and didn't have any luggage. He put everything in his backpack. Rob had a broken arm and a sprained ankle. He could hardly carry anything. The police immediately knew who had done it. Can you figure it out? It was Lisa.
Oh no!
Nobody told her the luggage was brown. Then, how did she figure it out? When several friends decided to play cards, they noticed that a few cards had been lost. They also realized that if they dealt the rest of the cards among 4 people, 3 cards would remain. If they dealt these cards between 3 people, 2 cards would remain. And if they distributed the cards among 5 people, again, 2 cards would remain. How many cards were left in the pack? There were 47 cards left in the pack. Let's see. If 47 is divided by 4, 3 is left out. And if 47 is divided by either 3 or 5, 2 is left out. Mrs. Kim called the school principal to report that someone had taken her students' tests. She added that she had noticed a stranger wearing school clothes, gloves, and a red mask walking school hallways. This person also had 3 star tattoos on their fingers. The principal didn't believe the teacher. Why? She said the person had been wearing gloves, but then, how did she see 3 star tattoos on the intruder's fingers? She must have lost the test herself and was trying to find an excuse. You need to get a taxi. Oh, how lucky.
Hey!
There are not 1 but 3 cars over there. But which car should you choose? The first taxi doesn't have a license plate. That's suspicious. And the driver of the second taxi is covering their face with a mask. That's creepy. You should choose the third taxi.
A hat and scarf cost $110. The hat is $100 more expensive than the scarf. How much does the scarf cost? $5. It means that the hat is $105, which is exactly $100 more than the scarf. Mia was a shop assistant on a giant cruise liner. Once, she found an expensive watch in the boutique where she worked and announced it on the radio. Soon, 4 people showed up in the store. Each of them claimed it was their watch. Mia looked at all of them attentively and realized who the watch belonged to. Can you figure it out too? This man does have a watch tan line, but it's much bigger than the watch Mia found. This young girl already has a watch on her left hand. Why would she wear the second one? The elderly lady must be very absent-minded. Her dog is wearing her watch as a collar. The watch must belong to the teenager. Nick was an experienced skydiver, but one day, something went wrong. A strong gust of wind brought him to the forest. The man found himself among trees with no food or water. Soon, Nick saw 4 roads in front of him. One led to a supermassive black hole that swallowed everything that got close. The second road ended in a sea full of sharks. The third road led to a mountain that was impossible to climb over. And the fourth road ended in a bottomless abyss. Which road should Nick take? He should follow the third road. No one says he has to climb over the mountain. He can simply go around it. During which month do people sleep the least? During February, it only has 28, maximum 29 days. A man is on the run from the police after he stole 3 massive gold bars, 30 pounds each. At some point, he reaches a long bridge that can support only 260 pounds. The man weighs 200 pounds. How can he transport all 3 gold bars in one go? He has to walk across the bridge while juggling the bars. It means that at any time, only 2 bars will be on the bridge, since the third one will always be in the air. Look attentively at these 3 men carrying a log. One of them is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the man in the middle. For one thing, he's wearing a suit, which is a strange choice of clothing for such a task. Plus, his face is quite relaxed, and his eyes are open. It doesn't look as if carrying the lug feels like hard work for him. One evening, Emma went to take out the trash from her coffee shop. She was about to leave when she spotted something dark in the corner behind the trash bins. It was a young woman, and she was unconscious.
Oh my God.
Emma rushed to her. The girl's bag and smartphone were lying nearby on the ground. The first person on the contact list was named Big Sis. Emma called the number and heard a female voice. "I found your sister lying on the ground. It seems someone hit her on the head."
What?
The woman was shocked and promised to come immediately. Next, Emma called the police. The sister and police officers arrived at the same time. "Arrest this woman! She's behind the attack!"
Oh.
And Emma pointed at the sister. Why did she say so? She didn't tell the sister where to come. How did she know the address?
Oh.
There are 4 cups on the counter, all of them upturned and hiding the same number of sweets underneath. Near each of the cups, there is a sign that says how many sweets are under it. The signs are 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 6 or 7, and 7 or 5. Only one of these signs is correct. How many sweets are there under each cup? Since only one sign is correct, the right number can't appear twice. Otherwise, more than one sign will be correct. It means that there are 8 sweets under each cup. Luke took part in a scientific experiment, but something went terribly wrong. He ended up in a place where there was nothing but 3 portals. One of them led to a polar desert in Antarctica. The second one opened into a volcanic crater filled with molten lava. And behind the third portal, there was the age of dinosaurs, with huge diplodocuses roaming around. Which portal should the man choose? Luke would freeze in no time in a polar desert. Molten lava isn't even an option. But diplodocuses are totally harmless to people. They only eat plants. Look at the picture attentively and say which of these people is left-handed. It's the waiter. It's easier for a left-handed person to hold the tray in the right hand and deal with the food and drinks with the left, dominant hand. Detective Henry Taylor was getting ready for work when he heard screams from his neighbor's house. He rushed there. The door was locked. The man had to kick it several times before it opened. He found his neighbor, Miss Anderson, in the living room. She was tied to a chair. "Oh, I'm so happy you heard me shouting. An hour ago, a man knocked on my door and said he was an electrician. But as soon as I let him in, he tied me up and took all the priceless paintings I had got from my grandfather, and then he just ran away." Detective Taylor had to arrest the woman for staging the theft. How did he know? When he tried to get into the house, the door was latched from the inside. Who could do it if Miss Anderson was tied up and the thief supposedly ran out of the house in a hurry? You have 5 pieces of chain, and each of them is made up of 3 links. You have to make a long chain out of these 5 pieces. Welding an open link will cost you $3, and breaking a link open is $1. Can you make a long chain if you have only $15? First, take one piece of chain and break all of its 3 links open. It'll cost you $3. Then link the remaining 4 pieces of the chain with these open links. Welding these links will cost you another $9. In total, you'll only pay $12. In the middle of a long flight, 2 passengers stood up and started to threaten the crew and passengers. They demanded $1 million in a helicopter. One of the criminals had a pilot's license and could fly a copter. When the plane landed at the nearest airport, the passengers got everything they had requested: a case full of money and a helicopter. But when they got inside, they didn't manage to fly away and were captured by the police. Why couldn't they start the machine if the helicopter didn't have any technical problems? The helicopter was okay, but there was no fuel in its tank. Michael got lost when he was walking in the forest. After hours of wandering around, he finally saw a weird-looking house that seemed to be deserted. Still, the guy decided to try his luck and ask for directions. But when he entered the house, the door shut behind his back with a loud bang, and he heard a voice, "You've entered my home uninvited. You won't leave it easily." Oh no. After that, Michael found himself in a room with 3 doors. The voice told him that only one of those doors led to freedom. Behind the first door, there were starving wolves. The second door hid a furious werewolf. And behind the third door, there was a huge, raging campfire. Which door is safe? Michael should wait until the campfire goes out and get out of the house through the third door.
Anna and Barbara are cleaners at a fancy hotel. The hotel manager received a call saying that one of them had stolen precious jewelry from one of the clients. Now, look at the image. Can you figure out who did it? It was Anna. If you look closely, there's a shiny diamond inside that cleaning bucket. Uh-oh. Inside a high-security prison, 3 men were eager to escape. The first one was trying to break the cell bars. The second one was working out every day to get strong. The last one was quietly reading a book. One of these prisoners came from the future. Can you tell who? It's the one reading the book. He knows none of the other prisoners are going to make it. By reading books, he might get an answer on how to escape. And even if that doesn't happen, at least reading will help him stay on track until he gets out of there. Ben and Paula were watching a riddle channel at home. They got into a heated discussion about who would survive such a dangerous prank. Take a look at the image. Who do you think has the biggest chance at survival? It's the lady with the snakes. I know that sounds dangerous, but the snakes are small and not poisonous. Dan enrolled in a photography class. For his latest assignment, he needed to take a landscape picture and present it to the class. But Dan didn't have time to do the assignment, so he decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teachers and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because the image has 2 suns. That's not natural. At least not on planet Earth. Maybe Tatooine. Otto decided to take a chance on online dating. After a few days, he started talking to Mandy. They got along pretty well and decided to meet in person. They agreed to meet in Mandy's favorite cafe. She told Otto that she would be using a couple of red hair clips and it should be easy for him to find her. But as soon as Otto arrived there, 3 women were using red hair clips. They were in fashion apparently. So take a look at the image. Can you help Otto find Mandy? Let's see. Mandy is the woman at the first table. She's the only one wearing a pair of hair clips. The woman on the left is using 3 clips, and the other is wearing just 1. Betty walked into a cafe and ordered a cappuccino, but the cashier told her it was her lucky day. He would give Betty her cappuccino for free if she managed to answer a riddle correctly. The cashier said there were 2 buckets filled with water all the way to the top. The buckets had equal height, but the temperature of the water inside the first bucket was 25 degrees Celsius, while the second bucket it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit. If a person dropped the coin inside both buckets at the same time, which coin would hit the bottom of the bucket first?
Uh-oh.
Jenny took a few minutes to answer the riddle, but she got it right. Can you guess what she answered? She said it would hit the bottom of the first bucket first. It had to do with the state of the water in each bucket. At 25 degrees Celsius, the water is liquid, while at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns to ice. Amy lives in a cozy townhouse with 3 roommates, Jill, Alice, and Nora. Take a look at these 4 bedrooms. Can you tell which one belongs to Amy? Let's go one by one, eh, Sherlock? In the first room, there's a comb with some green hair stuck to it. Nora's the one with the green hair, so that must be her room. Then, in the room to the right, there's a single red sock under the bed. Take a look at Jill's feet. She's missing that same sock. That must be her room. In the room right under this, there's a yellow jacket hanging on the chair, and Alice is wearing the same colored pants. It looks like the 2 pieces are a suit, right? That leaves the last room, with this huge letter A poster hanging on the wall. That must be Amy's room. Whew, that took some work. Annie was locked inside a room with 4 doors. On each door, there was a symbol of a creature hidden behind it. On the first door, there was a small dragon. On the second, there was a couple of vampires. On the third door, there was a mummy. And on the last door, there was a werewolf. One of the doors would open in 1 minute, but Annie didn't know which one. She had 3 different items she could use to protect herself: an axe, a torch, or an aspen stake. She needed to choose one that would help her fight any of the monsters. Which one should she choose? Her best option would be to choose the torch. The torch's fire can scare off any of the creatures and protect Annie. Olivia was running a marathon. Right before the finish line, she did her best and outran the person who was running in second place. The woman was happy and excited that she was going to win, but in a few seconds, she was very disappointed. Why? Because Olivia finished in second place when she wanted to finish first. This is what happened. She was fast enough to outrun the person who was going to win second place, but she wasn't fast enough to outrun the person who finished first. But hey, it's a good result anyway. Cheryl ran into her house extremely worried. She told the police officer she took off as soon as she heard the news. She was at her parents' house in another town and wanted to know what had happened to her husband while she was away. The officer said that someone had hurt Mr. Brown and that he ended up in the hospital. He said Mr. Brown was going to be okay, but he still needed to find out who had done this to him. The police officer had questioned 3 suspects so far. Mr. Brown's secretary said that she was sent to visit Mr. Brown's business partner in the morning because important documents needed to be signed. The house cook said he hadn't left the kitchen the entire day, since Mr. Brown had asked him to prepare a meal for him and his wife. And the housekeeper said that she hadn't heard anything. She spent the day doing chores. The officer realized who the culprit was in no time. Can you figure out who did it too? It was the cook. Mr. Brown probably didn't ask him to cook anything for his wife since she was out of town all along. These are Julia and Maria. They are both very attractive young women who have no trouble finding boyfriends. Today is Valentine's Day, and they're both going out with their loved ones. One of them is currently dating 3 people, though, so she's probably going to run from date to date. Just by looking at this image, can you tell which one it is? It's Maria, the one on the left. If you look at her workstation, she's got 3 presents lined up, one for each person she's currently seeing, who, I'm just guessing here, probably don't know about the others. Police officer Dave received a call late one night. A famous chemist went missing from his lab. After searching the lab thoroughly, Dave found a note with random numbers scribbled on it. The note read 26 3 58, 28 27 57 6. It took Dave a while to figure out the hidden message. The clue was on the periodic table. Can you figure it out? The chemist was smart. Each number on the note corresponds to an element in the periodic table. So the element that corresponds to the number 26 is Fe, or iron. The number 3 is Li, lithium. And 58 is Ce, cerium. Using this logic, the first line is spelled Felice. By the same logic, the second line is spelled out Nicholas. After discovering the names, Dave tracked the 2 men down and arrested them. You just entered a riddle-solving competition. The game show host shows you the first riddle you have to answer. Take a look at the image. Who do you think will be able to make it all the way across the line? Let's face it, it's the man on the left. Even though it looks like he's having a hard time carrying such heavy things, the weight is evenly distributed between his 2 hands, so he'll probably make it through without any problem. For your next challenge, the game show host shows you a picture of sinking boats. Which boat do you think will sink first? The first boat has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water inside. The second boat only has 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that's gotten inside. It's definitely the second boat that's going to sink first. Since you passed the first 2 rounds, the third one gets a bit harder. Ken was riding on his rollerblades when he fell down and hurt his head. He woke up in the hospital, only to find that 3 Barbies were waiting for him. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which Barbie is actually Ken's girlfriend? This is a tricky one. It can't be the third Barbie, because the real Barbie would never wink at Ken. It's usually him that does the flirty things. It's also not the second Barbie, because she would never put on makeup in front of him. So this leaves us with the first Barbie, who must be his girlfriend. The Finn is a famous hostel in Spain. It's especially famous for its fun showers. But hey, something doesn't look right in this image. Take a look and try to guess what it is. The woman on the right is squeezing a ketchup bottle instead of a shampoo bottle. That's definitely weird, huh? For the final rounds, the host picked out a few written riddles for you. The first one is, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. Am I a microphone, a phone, or an echo? What would you say? The answer is echo, echo, echo. I'm not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. What am I? A tree, fire, or clouds? The correct answer is fire. Way to go if you chose that. Now, Carol was invited to a Halloween party in an abandoned house. Her friends asked if she was up for a challenge, and she said yes. Soon enough, she was locked inside a room. In this room, there was one door and 3 light switches next to it. Behind the door was an empty closet with nothing but a light bulb. Her task was to figure out which switch controls the light bulb inside the closet. She could flip the switches in whatever way she wanted, but once she opened the door, she couldn't touch the switches anymore. After some minutes of thinking, she was able to get it right. How did Carol do it? Okay, let's go step by step. She flipped switch number 1 and then waited a few minutes. She flipped it back to off and then immediately flipped switch number 2. Then she opened the door and checked the light. The bulb was off, so she discovered that it wasn't switch number 2 that controlled the light. So she decided to touch the bulb to test if it was hot or cold. If the bulb had been cold, that would have meant that switch number 3 controlled it. But the bulb was hot, so that meant that switch number 1 controlled 1. Way to go, Carol! To get back to the party, Carol had to solve another riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other one measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. When the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And once the 4-minute glass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand at the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there was 1 minute worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Anna sat down to watch her favorite TV show. She made some popcorn, turned on the TV, and nestled comfortably to binge-watch an entire season. Her cat Pepper sat down next to her, but after 5 minutes of screen time, Anna suddenly passed out. Look at the image. Can you guess what happened there? Anna's cat Pepper got scared with the loud thump that came from the TV. It jumped on top of Anna and it scared the life out of her. That's why she passed out. Take a look at this scene. Who do you think has the best chance at survival? The 2 guys look pretty stuck in there, but the woman on the right might have a chance. The rope looks a bit loose around her body. She could try to shake it off and then use her free hands to untie her ankles. Bella landed in New York with a very ambitious career goal. But first thing she needed to do after arriving in the city was to find her apartment. There were many options to get from the airport to her apartment, but Bella decided to save money and go by bus. She had to purchase a ticket for $10, but a handsome guy popped out of nowhere and offered her a better deal. He said his plans had changed and he didn't need his bus ticket anymore. He offered to sell it to her for $6. Bella agreed and gave him the money, but it turned out to be a big mistake. Why? Take a look at the current date on the screen of the vending machine. And now check the date on the ticket. The ticket the man sold Bella expired over a month ago. Finally, Bella managed to arrive in Manhattan and find her apartment. She was sharing a house with 3 other women. Bella introduced herself to them and went to settle in her room. She left her belongings on her bed and went to take a shower. When she stepped out of the shower, Bella noticed that her laptop was missing. She got furious and decided to interrogate all of her new roommates. Sarah said she had gone out to get a cup of coffee. She even told Bella to ask the doorman of their building since he had seen her leave. Kelly said that she had taken an afternoon nap with her headphones on. She said she hadn't heard or seen anything strange going on inside the apartment. Shannon said that she had gone to the building's rooftop to take some pictures of the city since she was a professional photographer. Can you tell who's lying here? It's Shannon. If you notice the sign on the lobby, the building strictly prohibits people from accessing the rooftop. Alfred is a supermodel and he just landed his dream job. The biggest magazine in the country invited him to be on the cover of their latest issue. On the day of the photo shoot, he arrived early in the studio. After finishing with hair and makeup, he looked in the mirror and screamed, "Oh no!" His skin was all red. It looked like he was having some serious allergic rash. He called all the assistants he had seen earlier in the day to interrogate them. Amy, the photographer's assistant, said she had been told Alfred was allergic to peanuts, so she made sure to only buy safe snacks. Bo, the makeup artist, said he hadn't touched Alfred's food. He said that right after he finished doing his job, he left for a coffee break. Mary, the cleaning lady, said that she knew how sensitive models could be, so that's why she had only used organic and hypoallergenic products to clean his dressing room. Alfred immediately knew who had contributed to his rash. Can you figure it out too? It was definitely Bo. Sure, he didn't have access to Alfred's food, but he was the only one who touched Alfred's face that day. Liv was recording a dance routine for her social media page when a huge portal opened up and swallowed her whole. The next thing she knew, she was stuck inside a big cavern. Out of the blue, a great genie appeared. He told her that she would only be allowed to leave if she figured a way out by herself. As soon as he disappeared, she saw that there were 3 buttons on the wall. There was a red, a yellow, and a green button. On the floor, there was a note that read TDUPT, RNOR, EHEB, and SST. She clicked one of the buttons and managed to open a door on the wall. Can you guess which button she chose? The red button. She unscrambled the words on the note and discovered it read, "Press the red button." As soon as she pressed the button, Liv was transported into a virtual reality world. An artificial intelligence greeted her welcome and showed her 3 doors. The AI told her that only one door would lead to her freedom. It told her that behind the first door, there were hungry Pac-Men waiting for someone to walk inside. Behind the second door, there were cursed rollerblades. Once you put them on, you'd never be able to take them off. Plus, they had a will of their own and ended up taking you to some pretty dark places. Behind the last door, there were flying fuzzy creatures with laser eyes that would burn anything they came into contact with. Which door do you think Liv should use to escape? Well, she should pick the second door, because she wouldn't be obligated to put the pair of rollerblades on. She could walk past them and straight to her freedom. During the time she was gone, Liv noticed that someone had stolen her laptop. It had all her social media content on it. She figured it must have been one of her roommates, so she decided to take a look around the house and try to find it. Look at these images. The first room belongs to Jill, the second one belongs to Rachel, and the third one belongs to Amy. Can you figure out who stole Liv's laptop? If you look closely, Rachel's cat is sleeping on top of something that really looks like a laptop. It must have been her.
Let's spend the next 10 minutes or so on a nice and refreshing brain workout, shall we? Ready? Go! There are some flowers growing in the field and some bees flying over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? If all the bees land on all the flowers, one bee for a flower, one bee won't get a flower. If every 2 bees decide to share a flower, one flower will be left without a bee. If you answered that there were 4 bees and 3 flowers, you're absolutely right. Anna majored in accounting at university. Her roommates wanted to test her intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote some messages on them. Then they put the answers to Anna's exam questions in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope had a truthful message written on it. The other 2 were false. Anna wasn't allowed to open the envelopes and could only pick one. The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second one was, "The exam answers are here." And the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope should Anna pick? The third one. It tells the truth, which means the exam answers are in the first envelope. A businessman was about to go through a security check at the airport when he realized someone had taken his luggage. The airport police had 3 suspects. Lisa said, "I wouldn't take someone's old brown bag. I have my own." Mike explained he was a light traveler and didn't have luggage. He put everything in his backpack. Rob had a broken arm and a sprained ankle. He could hardly carry anything. The police immediately knew who had done it. Can you figure it out? It was Lisa. Nobody told her the luggage was brown. One day, Detective Morris was patrolling a local park. As soon as he entered it, he saw several bags with sand. He kept walking and soon came across a picnic basket and binoculars. A few feet further, he saw some items of clothing and a large, colorful sheet. There was also an unconscious man lying on the ground. The detective immediately figured out what had happened. Can you? The man was flying in a hot air balloon. When it started to lose altitude, he tried to make the balloon lighter, but his attempt was unsuccessful. When several friends decided to play cards, they noticed that a few cards had been lost. But they found out that if they dealt the rest of the cards among 4 people, 3 cards would remain. If they dealt these cards between 3 people, 2 cards would remain. And if they distributed the cards among 5 people, again, 2 cards would remain. How many cards were left in the pack? There were 47 cards left in the pack. Let's see. If 47 is divided by 4, 3 is left out. And if 47 is divided by either 3 or 5, 2 is left out. Scott and Mary were on vacation. One day, Mary told Scott she couldn't go to the beach with him because she was feeling unwell. When Scott came back to the room to grab his phone, Mary was gone. He found her by the pool and asked, "Are you alone here?" She nodded, but Scott immediately realized she was lying. How? There were 2 drinks on her table and 2 fruit platters. And now, I've got probably one of the coolest tasks for you.
Yeah.
I'll show you different products and you'll need to figure out if they're real products or cakes. Let's start. It looks like a regular bag of Doritos. Can it be anything else? Look at that, it's a cake! Here is a pretty normal cheeseburger, I would say. But what secret is it hiding? It's cake again. Wow, I'd love to try it. Oh, a tube of toothpaste. Can it be cake too? Ah, no, just some regular toothpaste. Thought so. And some good old toilet paper, right? No, you must be kidding me. It looked so realistic. A corn cob. Yummy. It looks delicious, but can it be a cake? Oh my, it is! I'm not sure what I'd prefer now, though. A cake or some sweet corn? How about this sneaker? Is it real or edible? And again, it's a cake. How is it even possible?
Oh my god.
Now, it must be an orange, right? There's no way it can be a cake. It just looks too realistic. And indeed, it's a real fruit. An eggplant or a cake shaped like an eggplant? That's the question. Oh, I see. It's the real thing. Okay, what do we got here? A banana. A pretty realistic banana if you ask me. Can it be a cake? Apparently the answer is yes, it can. Wow. How about this cup of coffee with milk? I can't believe my eyes. It's a cake. You've got to be kidding me.
Oh my god.
And the last one, the toughest. Is it a clock or a cake? I mean, I'm almost sure it's a real clock, but you never know. It's a cake! Wow, this task has blown my mind. But back to our detective riddles. Amy won $20 million in the lottery. The night after she received the money, she stayed at the most expensive hotel and made a video. It was about her life and how she hadn't seen her sister since childhood. The next day, 3 girls showed up, claiming to be her sister. All of them looked so much alike, but which one tells the truth? It's the lady on the right. She has the same mole as Amy on her cheek, a tattoo with the letter A, and a tattoo with 2 girls holding hands. Mrs. Kim called the school principal to report someone had taken her student's test. She added that she had noticed a stranger wearing school clothes, gloves, and a red mask. This person also had 3 star tattoos on their fingers. The principal didn't believe her. Why? She said the person was wearing gloves, but then how did she see 3 star tattoos on the intruder's fingers? 2 friends, Mark and Timothy, were walking home from the supermarket with their purchases. That was the last week before the winter holidays, so they had a lot of bags. Mark kept complaining about how heavy his bags were. Then, Timothy told him, "I don't understand what you're upset about. If you gave me one of your bags, I would have twice as many bags as you. And if I gave you one of my bags, we would have the same number." How many bags were the guys carrying? Timothy had 7 bags, while Mark was goofing off and carrying only 5 bags. The art museum owner was visiting the construction site to see the progress. At some point, he left his briefcase with important documents on the table. A worker grabbed it and ran away. The museum owner didn't see who it was, but he immediately called the police. There were 3 suspects. The architect said he had been talking on the phone trying to get electricity for the site as there was none. The manager told the police he had been teaching his staff to work as a team. The electrician explained he had been down in the basement trying to fix a broken lamp. The detectives immediately figured out who was lying. Can you? It was the electrician. There was no electricity at the construction site.
Oh no!
Soon after Bob became prom king, he vanished. His teachers were looking for him everywhere. They believed there were 3 people who could be behind his disappearance. Bob's rival Joe said he had been dancing all night with his girlfriend and hadn't seen Bob. Bob's classmate Dennis claimed he hadn't been feeling so well, so he spent all night in the lounge. Laura, Bob's secret admirer, said she had been counting the votes. The teachers immediately realized who knew something about Bob's disappearance. And have you figured it out? It was Laura. Bob had already